Good evening and welcome back, everybody, to the Cyber People podcast, the show whose vision is not only to showcase the extraordinary men and women of the Australian cybersecurity industry, but also hopefully to inspire a few people along the way to consider a career in cybersecurity because it's a lot of fun. So I'm told, and it's been a lot of fun. My journey so far in this industry has been a lot of fun. So stop thinking about it, just do it. So with me here today, we are delighted to have in this studio Jacqueline Jayne, or as she prefers to be called, JJ. JJ, it's great to have you on the show. You are, I think, the second Adelaidean and also the second lady guest. So thank you very much for joining us.
Well, there you go. It's a privilege to be here, Will. Hello, everybody.
Now, JJ, if I'm not mistaken, you're an expert in the field of human cyber risk management and also the field of security awareness and training. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the people side of cybersecurity, the human element, as they say.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So one of the things that I always like to do, because as I mentioned a moment ago, the secondary purpose of this show is really to encourage people outside of cybersecurity to move themselves into cybersecurity. So perhaps if you would be so kind, would you mind sharing with everyone how you ended up doing what you do? How did you find your way into this industry? What were the catalysts and the drivers and the impetus that led you to where you are today?
Wow, that's a long story, but let's do the quick version. Back in 82, a long time ago, when computers were really just starting to hit the home, my mother was a librarian and she had a computer. So she would bring it home on long weekends and school holidays with the massive screen with a seatbelt in the back seat. I'm sure if you're of that age, people are nodding like, yep, I remember those. And I just loved it. It was, to me, just like a moth to a flame, all technology. So started then when I was only one in 82. No, not really. I was a little bit older than that. And yeah, just all the programming stuff that was available back then. I even have a box of the dot matrix printer paper in my office because I just have to. It's that sound, it's that memory, it's one of those things. And I always found myself between people and technology. So explaining technology to people and also breaking down what people needed to those in technology. So my whole career, whilst I was never a traditional path in IT, I was always between people and technology. And it wasn't until recently I ended up working directly in IT. And that was interesting, a totally different world. I knew it would be challenging and I knew I'd make a difference because people get annoyed with IT people. There's no two ways about it. And IT people get annoyed with everybody else out there. And trying to bridge that gap between them both, Will, I can nodding, yep, he's yes, this is absolutely true. So I'd be kind and I'd be cheeky to both to get them to understand that they're just different. Like IT people are traditionally just built differently, and that's absolutely fine. We need them. So I've always played in that world of tech and people and found myself in the cybersecurity space back in 2017, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, but like, why? So I mean, the calling into technology was obviously something that you felt in your gut right from when you were a little wee tacker.
Yep.
But why cyber? Like, why not just pursue other avenues in tech? Right, there are so many to choose from. What was it specifically about cyber that attracted you?
Very good question. As people of another certain age will say that I'm a helper. I'm one of those, like, find the helpers, that's me. And it was very clear to me that people weren't getting access to tools, awareness, knowledge, education to keep themselves safe online. Now, someone like me, I'm that person who reads the manual. I'm the person that's just who I am. But most people, technology moved so fast, they weren't keeping up. And they were making so many mistakes online, getting caught in scams, and also human error itself. And there's a multiple amount of reports you could read human error back in the mid, like 2015, 16, was around 60, 70% of all cyber incidents were because of human error. And now we're at 85, 95%. Now, there's an issue
Oh
there.
dear,
That
I
has
thought it was
just,
getting better.
it's not getting better,
Oh,
even though security awareness training and educating people in organisations has grown. People aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and to me, it was a red flag by
yeah.
itself. So I thought something's not okay, something's not working, and it's because IT people, back to them, God bless you all. Technology is what you do and what you do well. Humans, not so much so. Humans are their own animals, and we do things behaviorally. We need to know why we do certain things. So for me, there was a gap to help, and people no one was filling that gap to actually talk to the human at their level to explain what they need to do to be safe. And then, of course, I have a child. He's an adult now. He's 18. So that brought with it another element of who's keeping my kids safe online. Well, schools say they are. They're not hitting the mark at all. So I'm very passionate about helping, and the technology just comes natural, and I really love it. And I could talk about it all day. And it is about helping to keep people safe online of all ages and bring down that human element, that human risk, and that human error in organisations of all different types. So it was passion to help when it comes down to it. That's how I ended up in the world of cyber. So, and it's not going anywhere. It's something I do every day, and I won't be changing.
Good. Don't you go changing. We,
No,
we, we love you just the way you are, JJ.
there's a lot of
Um,
songs there. It was,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Don't go changing.
exactly. And
Okay.
my
Don't give up
brain's
your day
okay.
job, Will.
We're back.
As a singer, you're a great recruiter. Um,
Correct. Great face for radio.
thank you. Yes.
Talking about
Only
myself, but
my
that's
mother could
okay.
love me. Yes. Um, JJ, why do you think it's the human error? Like, if you consider the fact that we are all so digital now, we've all got um, phones in our pockets that far outstrip the computing power of the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
We are online all the time. We are cyborgs. Why is human error increasing and not going the other way? That's strange. Is it just simply
Yeah.
because there's more of us using this technology now, and
Um,
it's just sort of human error writ large because we have more tools to create to create damage, to create problems now, like
look,
a
I think,
chimpanzee with a
yeah,
monkey wrench trying to fix an Apache helicopter, that kind of thing.
exactly. I think it's a few different things. And number one is we are so distracted by so many things. The amount of notifications, messages, emails, screens, tabs. If you just think about the amount of tasks your brain and your devices are all doing at the same time, it is overwhelming for our brains. And we are very, very clever. So our brains will read things that aren't there. I'm sure many people listening would have seen the Cambridge University text piece where the words and letters are all mixed up and we can still read it. We don't see things we're supposed to. We're also programmed to respond to emotions. So if I pick up the phone and someone says, I have a warrant for your arrest, my body will do something without me even thinking about it to respond to that fear. And cyber criminals and scammers, that's exactly what they do. So the term social engineering, which is all about utilizing information, words, and tasks to get us to do something we normally wouldn't do, is because we're human. And we also respond to even things like, sales 2 for 1 or 50% off, one left. Or back in, COVID-19 days with these are the things you need to do. Drink this type of water or click here to see who's got COVID in your suburb. Those are the things that entrap us, and they don't stop at work. Everything's interconnected, and it's become a situation where just giving some education once or twice a year or just telling people to stop clicking on suspicious links is not working. There's so much more we need to understand. It's not actually as complex as people think, but the reason I believe human error has increased, the technology has got better to protect us, but the human element of engaging people, getting them to understand what's in it for them, why are we actually doing this, not stop doing it. Because I don't know about you, Will, but if I'm told not to press the red button, I'm going to probably press the red button. And most
Yeah.
humans are the same. So it's very emotive. Scammers and cyber criminals are very sophisticated. AI's changed the whole landscape, and adults are making the same mistakes their kids are online. So no one knows where to go for help, and it's a challenge for people. So that's why I think one element of increase of human error.
Okay. All right. So if we break this down and look at it within the context of, say, a typical enterprise, what are the sort of more common or garden human risks that you encounter, and how do you go about managing those?
That's a big question. Okay. So when we think about the average employee, so let's not think about people in finance or sales or people in marketing. Let's think about just the average employee of what they're experiencing every day. We don't seem to be able to focus. So we'll be in a meeting and we'll be looking at our email, our phones beeping and doing all those type of things. So it's the general stop and think before you do anything, before you take action. And most of us are busy doing what we're doing, not focusing and trying to get the inbox clear. That's been a thing for so long. It's zero inbox. And yes, you just copy it and put it into another folder. There's your zero inbox. Trying to get through everything really quickly, under pressure at work. The thing with cybersecurity is it used to be aligned with work health safety. So there was things we needed to do in work to be safe and cyber to be safe. It's out of control in the aspect of how many attack vectors, that's a term that's used in the world of cyber. How many ways are cyber criminals trying to get us? And it's everywhere. So if anything, it's bringing things down to the basic level of what are we doing? Why are we doing it? And here are the things you need to be aware of. You can't actually educate someone or any employee, in my opinion, on everything in cyber. It is not possible. What you can do is bring it back to a level of anything incoming that's asking you to do something that you weren't expecting. These are the things you need to do, that stop and be mindful, pay attention. But that doesn't fit into the world of work. So we're seeing it now with, everyone back to the office, and people are saying, no, I don't want to do that. When they did go back to when remote work came in, the issues of people and cyber breaches and attacks just increased because everyone was at home, not in the work environment. So there's no easy way to say, well, these are the risks we're seeing. We're seeing all of them, whether it be physical risk, online risk, people coming into an organization, using someone's swipe card to get in. The amount of risk that all relates to cyber is so complex. So I think people see it as a bigger animal than it actually needs to be. And there are some simple things that any organization can do to actually make a big difference and reduce that, hence the human risk management, as they call it these days.
Okay. So, are you saying that most training, well, there's that old adage, isn't there, that most training doesn't work? So the issue is the fact that even though there is a good, like, let's say, for example, in an enterprise, there is a good cyber education and cyber awareness training,
Yep.
And people are aware of the fact that they're not supposed to click on things, they do it anyway.
Yep.
They do it anyway because they're so distracted.
That's one element. The other side of it is, and this comes from best practices. So it's all well and good to have a security awareness training program, do some simulated phishing exercises. So there's no point learning piano without actually playing piano. So it's the same with cyber. You need to experience, look at it, and think, oh, okay, that's what I'm looking for. So that is really important. But unless you've gone backwards before you started doing that to get executive buy-in, to get everyone on the same page. Why are we doing this? What's the intent? How do we make it personal for people? Because the what's in it for me is key. And
Right.
if IT say, you are doing this training and we're going to send out simulations for phishing and you will do this, people will say rude words to IT. So the flip side is to make it part of every day. So every organization has a culture, how you celebrate birthdays, how you welcome new people, how you deal with, something catastrophic that goes on. The same thing with how do we approach security? How do we approach that in our workplace? Does everybody know what to do if something happens? Does everybody know how we pay invoices? Do we ever do anything with gift cards for payments? There's so many small things that can be integrated into an organization in its structure and its DNA, as people say, with culture, in their vision, mission, goals, objectives, strategic plan. And it just happens to include education. Unfortunately, it's not a once a year thing. It's an ongoing situation. It's building that muscle to know, hold on a minute, this isn't quite right. I need to do some other steps before I engage in this email, this phone call, whatever it might be. And interestingly enough, what I found over the years is if you introduce things about the individual, themselves, their family, their kids, and how to get them safe online, the engagement goes through the roof, because people really care about themselves. And there's no difference between how you might see a suspicious email at home on your phone or at work. It's the same thing. It's engagement. And often people think cyber's IT's job. It's not my job. It's, marketing. They've got too many things to do in marketing. They've got nothing to do with cyber. It's actually part of everything now. It's like road safety or sun safety with slip, slop, slap. Cyber is ingrained into everything. Online safety is massive. And cyber criminals are just nasty.
That slip, slop, slap thing was very powerful. I remember that growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
We haven't quite cracked that from a cyber perspective yet, have we?
Well, I believe I have. And as a scoop for you all, I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I believe that the term is don't click on shit. You can beep it out if you need to.
Don't click on shit.
Don't
People
click on
love
shit.
people love a bit of profanity. It's naughty. It'll get people's
They
attention.
do, especially in Australia.
Especially in the workplace.
And let me tell you, not one person has said, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Everyone, cyber, not cyber, young, old, have a smile on their face and they say that's exactly what it is. Now, it doesn't solve an issue, but if you think about slip, slop, slap, there's a whole lot that goes with that. But, the don't click on the stuff makes it ingrained in someone's head. So then they'll find out more about it and then it starts to make sense. So that's what I'm leading with. And look, I think it does make a difference. We have to find something, but stay safe online or stop, look and think. And no, it just doesn't ring with people.
Stay safe online sounds boring.
I know. I've gone through
people
so
like
many.
a bit of risk, don't they? Like, of course we want to be safe, but we also want a little bit of risk. We want certainty. We want uncertainty.
Exactly.
Human beings, who understands us? We're crazy.
Exactly. So that's what I'm leaning into. Got a whole lot of marketing behind that, and hopefully it'll resonate with people and people can use it, come up with other things. But I think it's something that we need to do. People need to just understand how to stay safe online and not complicate it for people. Make it fun, because it can be. It's very serious. The flip side of all of this is look about kids and online and their safety and social media and bans and the sextortion happening with teenagers these days and self-harm. It's terrifying, and something really does need to be done. And not enough is being done. There's no two ways about it. Not enough is being done.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, when you, in your line of work, when you look across the corporate landscape of Australia, what do you see as being the most sort of common mistakes that organizations make when it comes to educating and training their staff to reduce that human cyber risk side of things?
First things first is they come at it with corporate speak, with jargon, with things that people don't understand. Things like saying, well, we all need to implement MFA. It's really important. But have you explained what it is? What is MFA? Why do I need it? And is it MFA I need or 2FA? And are you actually going to tell me why this is important to me? So just one term within cyber, people will just not pay attention. I don't know about you, but, at the end of the day, moving forward, low-hanging fruit, all of that corporate speak is just
Get
not...
on board.
It's a whole nother... We could do a podcast on that one, Will. the issue that corporations face is they come at it from a corporate point of view, a risk point of view, and technical point of view. And that's not wrong, but it doesn't work and it hasn't been working. Organizations who succeed in this space come at it from the human element, the human aspect, as in we want to protect you, we want to help you, we have to protect our customers, we have to protect your job, because if the organization gets breached, we could lose our jobs. So it's looking at how to get the attention of the human to take on something that really is quite cumbersome, and it's a lot of pressure. But if you go about it is in the you must and everyone has to and this is your job, people, they're just not going to play nice. That's the way that we are as people, as human beings. So for organizations that get it right, they're talking to the human on a very technical thing, which is not easy to do. To me, I find it very easy to do, but it isn't actually a skill that everybody has. So, it's a challenge to find the balance.
Where do you start if you're coming into an organization and your job is to help them reduce their human cyber risk by uplifting their security awareness and training program? Where do you start? Do you start with the CISO? Is it a top-down thing, or is it bigger than that? Is it smaller than that?
It's a whole of organization risk. So it's starting with whoever owns the space and finding out doing an audit in a sense. What's their intent? Why are they doing this? Is it a tick box? Is it compliance? Is there legal requirements? Is it they've just been part of a breach, or someone else they know in organizations just gone through a breach and they want to avoid that? And let's just train the people tends to be the rhetoric that they hear. And the deeper element comes into why you're doing it, what do you have to protect, let's profile your people, what organization have you got, what data are you protecting, why are you protecting it, what risks come with that. So it's asking a lot of questions, getting that information back. And the key is everybody needs to be on the same page, top down, bottom up. That's the board, the execs, everybody needs to. So it's the way that I've seen success and done it myself is approaching it as a project. Even if it's already in place and it's not working, go back, have a look, relaunch, and see what are you doing. Is your organization big enough to sustain a security champions program? What are they? How do they work? How does it help? It's not part of someone's job description anymore. It really is a role in itself and a discipline in itself. And often you need to bring in people from IT, yes, they're the subject matter expert, HR in learning and development, marketing in how we communicate this out, and other elements of the organisation. If it's a big organisation, everyone needs to be on that page of what are we doing and why are we doing it. And then it's that change management approach of bringing everyone on board. You can't just change everything tomorrow and say, here's what we're doing, you'll do this, you'll do that, because you get the usual, we haven't got time for this training, we've got all these other things we have to do, we've got we've got sales to make, because it takes time. And it's an ongoing thing. So it's a whole shift in what we do normally. So it's whoever's owning it is where you start, and then just unpack what they're doing, what's working, what's not. And often people want reports on things that aren't even happening to them. And my experience will say that when I've sat and spoken to people who own these things, they're nearly always in IT and they're having the exact same challenges and they get very defensive, understandably. But one thing that works is I ask them all, like, how many of you bring in HR to manage your firewalls or configure your firewalls? And I say it very seriously. I get some very odd looks, Will. I said, well, we're not going to bring
That's just crazy. Bringing HR in? What the hell?
And then I say, why? Why would you not bring HR in? And they say, well, they don't know what they're doing. It's not that. And off they go down the track, down the road, which I've just entrapped them into. I say, well, that's right. So you're trying to make a sustainable change management effect on a human without those skills, knowledge, and experience. And there's nothing against you. It's just not in your wheelhouse. Oh, and then the penny drops. Once the penny drops and they realize it's much bigger than IT, that's when real change can actually happen and the human risk management can take place. Without that, it's failed. We're, 95% human error. So something needs to give. And it is. In many organizations, it is. Not enough, though.
So, a wise person once said, I can't remember exactly who it was, probably many people over the eons have said, show me the incentive and I'll show you the behavior.
Yeah.
Um, how many organizations approach it in terms of incentives? You know, okay, we want our users to exhibit certain behaviors. We have to incentivize them to do that. You know, like you said, you can't just tell them off, slap them on the wrist like a Victorian dad,
That's right.
and say, "Hey, you have to do this." But you know, that's the stick approach, which doesn't really work. How many
No.
organizations use the carrot effectively in terms of it?
If they're
You know,
following best practice and if they've stepped out of IT, and look, please understand anyone listening, there will always be the unicorns in IT who can cross over into the human psychology of getting people to do what they need to do and play with that to get the end result, but not enough, not many. So the carrot and the stick is always interesting. Gamification works really well. It comes down to your organization. Some organizations, the employees will respond to a coffee voucher and it will be huge for them. Others will have a wide range of different demographics, and that's not going to cut it for all of them. So it's understanding your people to know what can we do if we start to see these behavioral changes, which again is not completing training, not reporting things. It's behavioral observations of this is good behavior. Someone finds a USB in the car park, they're going to bring it in to IT and say, I found this, I'm giving it to you. That is a behavior that it doesn't happen overnight, it's like Pantene, but it will happen. And those type of things is what we need. It's a sustained approach. You don't, if anyone's got themselves a dog, a puppy, they're not sitting day one. And you find out that not all of them want the food as the reward. Some want the pats and the, good boy or good girl, whatever it is. Everyone's different. And it's the same thing with the likes of changing a behavior for online. If we've been driving on the other side of the road in another country, you can't just pick that up when you go to the other side of the world. It takes time. So I love a good analogy, Will. I just love a good analogy, and this is just like driving a car. You cannot. I've had a 16-year-old son a couple of years back, and I did not give him the keys and say, "Off you go, drive safe." No, we don't do that. There's education, there's learning, there's tests, there's driving with someone who knows. And it's just like that with online. So when we're talking about carrots versus the sticks, it's understanding who we're dealing with, what will get the best result from them, and even ask them. Asking people works. Like, what would help you do this better? They will tell you exactly what they want. But organizations who name and shame when people fail phishing tests, it doesn't work. This is about changing human behavior and getting them on board. So
yeah.
you need to think what's going to work really well. Carrots will always work well. Humor might work really well in an organization. Boards of who's the leader, who's losing, who's winning, is sales beating marketing. It's specific to the organization. Hence, everyone's involved, not just IT, because the nuances of a culture in an organization often is driven and owned by people and culture, HR, etc. So it's a complex response to a very quick question. I apologize.
No, no. Well, it's a complex issue, and
Mm,
we don't. I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers, but maybe together we will have most of them.
correct.
So,
Exactly.
that's what this podcast is all about: getting closer to solutions and finding different ways, different avenues to the same destination.
That's right.
Um, I mean, look, I was just thinking a moment ago about the approach. Like, if I think about my clients, for example, more often than not, awareness and education is one of the responsibilities of people within GRC. That's a very common
Yeah.
scenario. And I've only got a very tiny handful of clients who actually have a dedicated awareness and training person.
Yep.
And it starts from day one. You know, when you're onboarding someone new, they're sort of indoctrinated into
Correct.
the cult of cyber, which I quite like. I don't say that
Yes.
pejoratively. Like you said, it has to become like your son learning to drive, it has to become reflex. It has
Yeah.
to become something that they do without even thinking about it. Um, I'm conscious of the passage of time, tempus fugit, as my mum would say. Let's talk about one of your other passions, which is keeping people of all ages safe online. How do you do
Yes.
that?
That's where leading with "Don't click on shit" works so well, because it gets people's attention and they want to actually do better. A lot of it is
Would make
getting
a good
them.
T-shirt too. By the way, we might have to do some
Oh,
don't click on shit T-shirts.
quite a few steps ahead of you, Will. I'll send you some stuff after. There's a book, there's an app and a book and stickers and everything. It's awesome. So for the general public, it's all about helping them stay safe online. If they're parents, it's leading with, are your kids safe online? Do you know how to talk to them? Here's some hints and tips to help your kids. And if there are seniors in the world that you're in, 65 pluses, they see it in a totally different way, incredibly trusting. So it's changing the way we engage and talk to these people at a level and in words and terminology they will understand. And a lot of it, you have to go right back to basics, and take everyone through. So it's about making things real to them, things that make sense. It's not a matter of, this policy says XYZ. It is, you want to be safe. Here's some hints and tips about what to do and how to do it in easy, non technical terms. So it's a totally different approach than an organization might take. It's not the bland approach that Risk tends to take. No offense to anyone in Risk, but it is true. And policies are critical, but they're boring. So have a page at the front that gives you the newsletter type look and feel. We're people. And if you want me to respond to anything, then I need to know what I'm going to get out of it, because that's how we all work. That's just the truth. So I have a gift in being able to connect with all these different people. So I'm using it to help them stay safe online.
Nice, nice. I like that. That's awesome. And it's very common. The people that I speak to on this show, they're almost always motivated by the desire to help others
Yeah.
first and foremost. Um, so I know that another area that you're very passionate about is building an online community where people can learn, share, and over time be safer online. Would you mind unpacking that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm launching, with the Don't Click on Shit, is a community for people to join the old mailing list and for me to start to help them out. So there's a course on its way to cover, at this point, it's called the 7 Simple Steps of Cyber, because, that all just makes sense. It's hard to say, could change,
Say
who
it.
knows?
Say it 5 times fast.
Exactly. But it is designed for basic cyber hygiene. So it's covering passwords, what they are, why you need them, how you should use them, MFA, which is another layer of authentication, which is really 2FA for most people, talking about AI, the dangers of that, your kids online, some basic things so that people, when they get through it, they know these are the things that will help me now. I know what to do. And if I come across a scam, if I get an SMS, an email, something, I can go somewhere, upload it and say, what is this? Please help me. Because at the moment, it's just nothing proper, in my opinion, available in Australia, to go and do that. There's ScamWatch, which is brilliant, but we need more two-way on-time communication so people can get help straight away. If you've ever been scammed or you're worried about it, you need help straight away. And that's not always easy. So that's the aim.
Just perhaps a slightly frivolous comment, but thinking about your "don't click on shit" thing and what you were saying earlier about how MFA is just boring and people don't know what it is. Maybe we could profanitize
Oh,
MFA because
yeah,
it sounds rude. We could say like mofoing authentication or
correct.
something.
We're on the
Yeah.
same page, Will. Gee, I've got to share with you a whole lot of stuff. So the
Oh,
overarching group for the rest of the world is under Peeps and Geeks. It's been something I've used a lot over the years. So heads up, Peeps and Geeks, because I'm talking to the peeps and I'm talking to the geeks. So Peeps and Geeks is the overarching element. There'll be social media. I've started to play in that world now, of just communicating with people, letting them know what scams are out there, in a non technical manner. So that, I mean, I don't know about you, Will, but I'm getting SMSs, the smishing daily, multiple. And I know that Telstra are stopping millions of these happening every week and month, but I still get them. Most people don't know what to do about them. So
I always send a really rude message back, which I can't repeat on this show, but you wouldn't be able to incorporate it into your training program, that's for sure.
Well, you never
Um,
know. Maybe I'll have a behind the door time.
yeah, absolutely. The
Yeah,
gangster rap version.
exactly.
Um, so, look, where can people find you? How can people join that online community? If you could just lay it all down here for us, that would be awesome.
Well, the best thing to do is to go join my mailing list, as they say. I never thought I'd be that person, but here I am. So, jacquelinejayne.com.au and join the mailing list. You can also find me on the LinkedIn. So, it's Jacqueline Jayne, Jayne, and connect there. And as information comes out, I will be sharing it more and more. Also, there's peeps and geeks on the tube of you, as people say, the YouTubes, and a few things on the TikToks. But I'll send you some links, Will. You can pop them into the podcast so people can click away at their own
All,
peril.
all right, fantastic. Now, I just before we go, I just wanted to let everyone know that along with human cyber risk management and with security awareness training and culture fits, you're also hugely passionate about two other subjects. What are they?
I can't tell. That gives away all my secrets. Well, one of them might be Lego. I might have a little bit of an obsession there. And the other one could be Minecraft. So,
Okay.
yes, it's a big
Okay.
Minecraft weekend this weekend. It's probably past now as the podcast goes live. But yes, we find out what's happening in store for next year on Minecraft.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Well, listen, Jacqueline Jayne, thank you so much. If there's anyone out there who is expecting a child, I'm Will Weatherall. She's Jacqueline Jayne. Name your child, give your child a name that begins with the same letter as the surname. It's as
Correct.
someone who is a WW, and I'm sure JJ would agree. It's really cool
It is.
being a palindrome,
It
isn't it?
is. There's nothing
Yeah.
like it.
All right. Listen, thanks very much, JJ. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
We
Will.
love you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.